Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, EJ Parker, here at Vintage Classic Solutions. We have an unboxing. These just arrived. They're still cold from being outside on White Sand Island here in Northeast Ohio in mid-November, or December. So, what's in these boxes? We're going to find out. One item is, I think, contemporary, and one item is vintage. So let's see what we got. I do this quite often. I'm an antique dealer, vintage and antique dealer, and I also collect things, which is dangerous because I need to sell things in order to buy food to eat. But I also need to collect things because I love them. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah. So this, let me show you. This is not vintage or antique, but it is classic, I think. Let's see. This is a costume jewelry ring of an eyeball within a triangle surrounded by octopus tentacles. I got this for $10 on eBay. Why? Because I like it. It's made of zinc. It's nothing fancy as far as the metal, but I work a lot with my hands. I ship things. I pack antiques. So costume jewelry for me is fun because if it gets chipped up or scratched around, it doesn't bug me. And for $10, and I'm also seeing eyeballs and triangles in my head. I really try to hone into my imagination for my creativity to help me draw, and I'm seeing images of eyeballs and triangles. So when I saw this, I'm like, oh, wow. And I like the octopus symbology because I'm a vintage and antique dealer that specializes in generalization. So I try to do my best in everything. I don't specialize in one genre of antique or vintage. I try to spread and do as much as I can. Spread my my field of knowledge and, you know. So that's cool. For $10, I'm happy. It's made of like zinc alloy. But there's other ones online that are like 50, 60 bucks. Made of, you know, more, I hate to say the word precious, but better metals, like stainless steel or sterling silver. But I wanted to see if I like the ring first before if I upgrade, which I might even not. I think this is cool. I like it. It's big, but who cares? Because it's made of, like, it's cheap. So if it gets, you know, scratched around, I don't care. All right, this next item, if I know what's in here, it's something I've been pursuing for a while. I collect, well, you'll see. Yeah. Oh man, it's snowing out here on White Sand Island. I like obscure, I like vintage. This is obscure and vintage. And I also collect, one of my specialties is vintage and antique toy rubber cars from the, you know, 20s, probably 30s and 40s. They're not really antique yet, but from the 30s and 40s, 50s. And this is from the 70s. Or late 60s. Check this thing out. This is bizarre. This is from a company called Garrett Rubbers. This thing is freaking awesome. Oh, it's got a date, 1976. Well, there you go. That's cool. This is like a lobster Corvette. Look at this. It's got a shell. It's got flowers. What a bizarre object to behold. It's got a rubber smell. It's made in the USA. What else? So Garrett Rubber. Look at this thing. How weird is that? It's made of rubber. Freaking lobster Corvette. Weird sells. Be yourself. Original. Be obscure. Be out there. This is so cool. It's a roll. So I have some history about this. So this is Garrett Rubber. They made rubber toys in the mid-late 20th century. This is one of them. It's a he that started this company, this guy. I have the information here next to me. But he just went like bizarro with these toys because with antique toy cars, typically they're, you know, semi-realistic. This one's from 1940. This one's from this is from the 30s. So they're semi-realistic. This one is just out there, and I love it. So let me give you a little bit of background information about this. This bizarro car. I happen to have a book here about antique rubber toy cars. All right, so this is rubber, Garrett Rubber. Mr. F.H. Thurman worked for the Auburn Rubber Company, which produced great classic toys like this. This is from probably around 1950, this open racer. This thing is freaking awesome, but today's not the star of the show, so away you go. So the gentleman that started this company used to work for that company. Auburn worked for Auburn Rubber Company as a toy designer for several years before the company closed in Auburn, Indiana, and moved to Deming, New Mexico. When Mr. Thurman left Auburn, he started his own rubber design and production company, which he called Garrett Sales Corp. Because it was located in Garrett, Indiana. And later, Rubber Toys Unique Incorporated. So it's Garrett Rubber or Rubber Toys Unique Incorporated. Mr. Thurman was under restriction not to compete with Auburn in the manufacture of toys. So he concentrated on rubber mechanical products. When Auburn closed down for good in 1969, Mr. Thurman was free to get into the toy business for himself. He designed and produced at least 18 different rubber toy vehicles. The sales brochure illustrates 14 varieties, but later he added a peanut car in honor of President Carter and a jelly bean car for President Reagan, for an elephant car and a donkey car. So these are like, these are like bizarre just designs. I mean, they're not realistic, right? The toys were well made of heavy rubber and incorporated several techniques improved over hard rubber toys from the 1930s and 40s and 50s, like this, which feels more stiff than this one right here. So Mr. Thurman incorporated color in the mixtures itself, so the toys did not have to be painted except for the silver trim. He also added an inhibitor to the material to prevent the hardening of rubber over time. And as you can see here, they are sold in like a box, on a counter. You just grab your rubber toy and go. So that's cool. It's also an ashtray. They made a promotional rubber ashtray. Is that like a toy ashtray? Is that for real? That's funny. So anyhow, this, I think this is like Larry the Lobster. I think they have like funny names too. I think this is Larry the Lobster. I got this for around $20 on eBay out the door. These can be more expensive just because they're obscure and weird stuff sells and demands a premium just because it's weird, right? So let that be a lesson in life. Just be yourself. You'll be more valuable. Just be weird and eccentric and original. Just be you. So this, but these go for more money. And there's other weird designs. The peanut car is weird. I haven't even seen the jelly bean car mentioned in that book. So that's something to look for. But I want to get a few more of these, but they could be 40, 50, 60 bucks because they're just so weird. And people like that. It's got a rubber smell, a synthetic rubber smell. But that's been a look at a 1976 Garrett Rubber Lobster car. And as always, thanks for checking in.